happening, y'all? It's hump day. It means the week is halfway over. Thank God. Yep. Halfway over. I'm a little tired this week. I've been working my ass off. I had a bunch of trucks come in and a bunch of stuff getting loaded up on me. I don't know if I've told you guys before, but I kind of work by a schedule. So at the beginning of the week, they give me stuff to work on, like it's a list of things that have to go out by the end of the week. I had 38 this week. I think I've got probably, 27 or something like that done. Yeah. Anyway, what the hell's up? So I'm headed home. I'll go home and hit the old recliner when I get there today. Man, I'm fucking beat. It's a little bit warm today outside. I don't know. It's probably, I want to say it's probably in the high 80s today. Maybe even, we may have even got to 90 degrees today. I'm not really sure. But I can definitely tell it's warmer today than it has been. Thank God the humidity's still down though. No, zero humidity, which is pretty nice. When you got a fan on, it can be hot, but as long as there's no humidity, you're good. What's up, viewer? What we got out there? So I suspect my daughter will be on any minute now. Oh, you're going to take off since I spoke to you. Okay, that's fine. Anyway. Yeah, I'm ready to go home, relax. Take it easy the rest of the day. I deserve it there. See, I only got 6,000 steps today, but man, I feel like I walked a freaking million miles today. I don't know. Some days I didn't sleep very good last night. I got one of these watches here, that keep up with like your sleep schedule and steps and all that shit. And it says I slept 6 hours and 30 minutes last night, but I sure as hell don't feel like it today. But I did go have Mexican food last night. I had heartburn really bad before I went to bed, so that may be what it was. You wake up in the middle of the night with heartburn and, you don't sleep very well. But, yeah, anyway. So I've got two viewers. I got two people watching at least. Hey, Ashley, you there yet? So the funniest thing happened yesterday. I get home and I sit down and I'm playing, well, I'm not playing on my computer. I'm, doing shit that I need to do on my computer. And somebody knocks on my door. So I get up, I got a no solicitation sign on my door. And I thought, well, that's funny. Whoever's out there can't fucking read. So I go to the door, answer the door, and it's my neighbor from down the street who has the same last three numbers in his address that I have. So the mailman put my mail in my neighbor's mailbox, down the street. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude, really? So we got mailmen in our mailman or mail woman, mail lady, whatever you want to call them. I know it's like gender fluent or something, but I'm just using it in a sentence to describe the mail person. Whoever the mail carrier is, how's that? We'll do that. Their pronoun is the carrier. Anyway, so the mail carrier left a letter that was supposed to come to me in somebody else's mailbox. And the town where I live in, I don't understand. It's like I've lived there for 15 years now. And we've had a bigger turnover in mail delivery people, both male and female, in 15 years than I've ever seen in my whole life. It really sucks because, you know, I've had things that have like not gotten delivered to my house before, and I'd be like, where the fuck did it go? Well, there's another house with the exact same number as mine on the street that runs parallel to mine. So I'm guessing that maybe some of my stuff has been there, but now that this guy brought me this piece of mail yesterday, I'm starting to wonder, you know, how much of my mail has he gotten over the years and just didn't know where it belonged or whatever. Anyway, so I'm doing shout outs. If anybody wants a shout out, I'll give you a shout out. Just put your name, say something, hello, or screw you, or hey dummy, or something like that, and I'll give you a shout out. I don't require people to like my stuff or subscribe to my page, even though it would be nice. I don't really, you know, that's not part of my narrative. If you want to make your name pop up down there, I'll give you a shout out. I am driving, so it might take me a minute. You may have to hang around if you got time to hang around. Some people don't. Some people come over, they check me out for a minute, they don't like what I'm talking about, so they go look at somebody else. Anyway. But yeah, I listen to YouTube today. Well, I listen to YouTube pretty much every day, but I had it on. The first song I played this morning, I was looking for a band, a Nordic band called Vamp, I think is the name of the band. And so I put it on random play, and it starts playing all this like 80s stuff, like mid to late 80s rock bands. And now I'm a pretty avid music listener. I'm a pretty avid music collector. But I heard a bunch of bands today that I had no idea even existed. And, you know, some of them are pretty good, some of them are not so good. The bands that I did like were a band called Steeler, Steeler, Mariah, King Cobra, Bow Wow, The Sword, and Castle Rat. And they're all that, like that 80s hair band genre, I guess. And it was actually, some of the stuff was pretty cool that I was listening to. And of course it mixed in, you know, like, you know, Loudness and Motley Crue and Def Leppard. I hate Def Leppard. Well, I don't really hate them. I get so I'm burnt out on listening to Def Leppard. You know, if it wasn't for, like, you know, especially like the classic rock stations, if it wasn't for bands like, you know, Aerosmith and the Rolling Stones, Def Leppard, Motley Crue, and what's that other one I don't like listening to? Anyway, so there's like, you know, this Dirty Five that I don't. Def Leppard is one of them that I don't really care to listen to, because it's not really that the band is bad. I mean, they're good bands, but they just play the same shit over and over and over again. I'm just tired of hearing it, you know. And on my job, I listen to music. That's how I get through my day. I listen to music, you know, just. I put it on YouTube, press play, and let it play all day long, you know. And but every once in a while, you know, I do hear some new stuff. But today was particularly interesting because, like I said, I've got, you know, 5 or 6 bands here that I'd never even heard of before. So I'm guessing that because I played this band, it's a Nordic band, or Viking, you know, the Nordic and Viking area of the world, because I was looking for their stuff, it associated my search with other things maybe from that part of the world. Maybe that's why I didn't see or hear of them before. Now, when I was growing up, you know, it was like during the whole, you know, introduction to MTV and all that stuff. But I lived, you know, my mom was a single mother, so we couldn't afford to have things, you know, like cable TV and MTV and stuff like that. I had to go to friends' houses to hang out to watch that stuff. You know, when I started watching TV on a regular basis, I had a black and white TV. And if any of you know what a black and white TV is, and you're as old as me, and I had the ones, that had the transistors in them. So you had the tubes. But my first TV had tubes in it. And it was a 13-inch black and white, but it showed green and white for some reason. I think the tube was messed up in it. But anyhow, it was one of the ones you had to turn the dial. And then it wasn't until a lot of years later that my mom finally got a TV. It didn't have a remote, but it was push button. The station one was push button, and it was color. And that was the big breakthrough, color TV. And then we finally got one that had a remote. That was pretty interesting. But anyway, so we couldn't afford all that cable TV and stuff, but I had friends that did, so I went to their house and hang out. But their parents would get tired of us after a while. We like to play air guitar and shit like that. And, well, you know what happens with air guitar. Things get moved around and knocked off the shelves and tables and everything else. We were pretty rowdy kids, when we were watching TV and shit when we were young. It was definitely interesting. So anyway, more riffraff. It's California tearing up shit. For what? You know what I find interesting? That these dumb motherfuckers out there in California, they want to come to our country because they hate their country so bad and they can't make a living. And then they get pissed off at our government, for getting rid of the ones that come here without, any kind of vetting, or, they cross the border illegally. But they want to fly the flag of the country that they desperately wanted to leave so bad. It makes absolutely no sense to me. Idiots. That's what I say. But anyway, I'm not going to get into that today. It's like I open up my my work browser, at work, because I don't play on the computer. I operate a computer all day long. That's all I've seen for the last, week. Articles about the riots and shit. They call it mostly peaceful protesting. That's not what it is. When you start throwing bottles and bricks and attack people and burn cars and loot businesses and destroy things and attack innocent bystanders, it's no longer a peaceful protest. It's domestic terrorism as far as I'm concerned. And they're talking about this weekend, on the 14th, this weekend, which is Flag Day. They're talking about, some group that's sponsoring a bunch of freaking dumbass people across the U.S. What they're doing is they're paying them to protest. But all the protests are always turned violent. It doesn't matter what it is. It's like people don't know how to peacefully go out and voice their opinion anymore. They got to raise a ruckus and act like a bunch of fucking children, fighting over a school toy, because they're pissed off about something. Well, big fucking deal. I could care less. All right, that's all I got to say about that. Moving on to something new. Hello, from Hungary. What is your name? Hold on, let me put my other glasses on so I can see. I'm going to give you a shout out. Hang on a second. Hello, Mike from Hungary. How you doing? How's it going over there today? You guys have sunny weather, or is it cold, or what? I don't know much about that part of the world. I just know that Hungary is over, what, near Europe? Or it's, I'm sorry, not Europe, but Germany, Hungary, Poland. They're not all around the same area. I'm geographically challenged, as if you can't tell. Are you hungry over there in Hungary? I'm just fucking with you, man. No, but seriously, I play on I have one of those Quest Oculus, MetaMask things, a VR machine. and I meet a lot of interesting people, and some of those people are from, you know, Germany and Britain and Australia. Well, I know Australia is south, but I meet a lot of people from over there in Europe on a pretty regular basis. You know, it's really interesting, all the different dialects and the different language, accents and things like that they all use. It's pretty cool to think about it. You know, here I talk like a redneck hillbilly from, you know, trash land. All right, hold on, I got some more shout outs to give. Hold on a second, don't go anywhere. Shout outs, okay, shout outs, here we go. Deckyard Shaw, hello. And you're not hungry, Mike. Okay, well, I'm not hungry either, you know. Working class, you know how that goes. Anyway, do flip, bro. We'll subs to you. All right, cool. Thanks a lot, Deckyard. I appreciate that. Deckard, it looks like Deckyard if you look at it close, or just like really quick. That's it's Deckard. Is that like a nickname, or is that your real name? Anyway, it's really interesting. You know, I like the Irish accents. You know, like the chicks from Ireland. That's pretty hot. And I dig the German accents too. Those are pretty good. Company name. Okay. What does your company do, Deckard? Are you okay? So I'm guessing maybe it has something to do with building decks on houses, maybe. Deckard, or is that decorative? Let's see, decorative interiors, maybe. Oh, motorcycles. Okay. All right, cool. So I've never heard of a motorcycle called a Deckard before. Is that a European thing? European? I drive a Harley Davidson. It's a piece of shit, but I drive it anyway. So don't ever let anybody tell you that you should buy a Harley Davidson, because they suck. At least mine does anyway. I used to like riding it, but I don't like riding it anymore. I had a bad experience with my Harley Davidson, and I just like to carry. Oh, I'm just funny. So, you guys all, it's Wednesday, yeah, Hump Day, right? This is the day I look forward to, because tonight I get paid. They do everything, a job by direct deposit, so I get paid this evening. Yay. Well, actually, it'll be like 2 o'clock in the morning. When they put it in, it'll be 6 o'clock in the morning. But I get paid today, tonight. I always look forward to payday. Do I know Igma Balls? I don't know. I doubt it. Is that a person or what? I don't know. Igma Balls. Never heard of it. Is that right? Did I read that right? I guess I should have on my other glasses so I don't have to keep switching back and forth, because it's kind of sunny out today. Let's see here. Igma Balls. Yeah, I read that right. Igma Balls. No, I can't say I do know what Igma Balls is. All right, so inform me. Tell me what Igma Balls is. Is that a type of a motorcycle, or like a model, a Super Glide, or Road Glide, or something like that? Anyway. Oh, who can it be now? You know, YouTube has a tendency to like block part of my videos when, okay. How about Jimbo James? Do you know him? Uh, no, I don't know Jimbo at work. My birthday was James, but other than that, I'm not really sure who Jimbo James is. There was a guy named Jesse James, I think that was his name, that had a motorcycle show that he built, I guess like West Coast choppers or East Coast choppers or something like that. Jimbo James, do you know him? No, I don't. Sorry, I don't. So anyways, I was saying, sometimes, like if I'm playing the radio in the background, oh, he's your brother. Okay, well, that's cool. So you guys own like a motorcycle deal where do you build custom bikes, or is that like the main brand? Deckard Shaw. I'll have to look up your company when I get home. I can't Google it right now. I'll Google it when I get home. I don't know if you've seen me on here before, Deckard, but I try to get on about 3 times a week. I'm usually on Monday and Friday for sure. A lot of times I switch back and forth between either Wednesday or Thursday, just depending on what kind of mood I'm in. I'm in a pretty good mood today. Exactly, custom bikes. Okay, cool. Now, is your company, are you in the U.S. or Canada? Or if you are, what part of the country are you in if you're in the U.S.? Yeah, I dig custom bikes, man. There's a guy that I used to, I belong to the Harley Owners Group. Well, not right now. I need to renew my membership, but I used to ride with them a lot. And there was a guy that had a Dyna. It was a really nice looking Dyna. And he was in my class. Like wobble, 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 be wobble. Yeah, it's my phone. Sorry about that. I've got it. I've got one of those things, you stick on your glass on the inside. It's a phone case thing, and it moves. I used to have it trapped up against the dash, but my daughter said that it made a lot of noise. Like when I would hit bumps and shit, it would make noise and squeak and stuff. So I'm sorry if it's unstable at this point. But it does that. That's out of my control. Yeah, out of my control. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm surprised my daughter's not on here today. She's been stalking my account. Of course, she is my moderator. She's usually on here too when I'm speaking in the afternoons. I've not seen her since Monday, so she may be off with her boyfriend doing something. I don't know. Hey, no problem, Deckard. Come back anytime. I know you said you were was that you that said you were gonna subscribe? Feel free to subscribe, like my video. Go check out some of my other stuff too. I've got videos of bikes, bike shows, concerts, crashes on, like aftermath of crashes on the interstate and shit. I got a silly dog that likes to do silly shit. But anyway, have a good one, man. I appreciate you stopping in. You're welcome back anytime you like. So I got 13 people watching. How about that? I love the number 13. That's my lucky number. Now I got 8 people. Well, I guess Deckard took some folks with him. Yeah, you'll sub. All right, thanks a lot, man. And I do appreciate all the people that sub to my channel. I'm not really into the whole freaking getting paid to do this scheme of things. I mean, maybe if I was unemployed and I didn't have anything else better to do with my time, I might do this for a living, but I just like getting on here and talking about my day, and maybe I can find somebody out there that's interested in things that I talk about. You know, it just kind of helps me gives me something to do when I'm on my way home. I try not to read the messages too much, you know, when posting comments and shit when I'm on my way home, but I do, you know, glance down from time to time. Somebody said something one time about my interactions. You know, usually I have on dark sunglasses, and like I said, I'm driving, so I don't really like to look at the screen too much. But I like to keep talking too, you know, so if I notice something that, you know, somebody like Deckard was talking about a few minutes ago, you know, some of the stuff that he, you know, custom bikes and all that, and that gives me an opportunity to kind of talk about things other than what's on my mind. Of course, you know, generally there's not really a whole lot on my mind, you know, because I don't talk, I try to stay away from politics and religion as much as I can. Now I do little rants every now and then, you know, but I'll usually say my piece and then I'm done. I just don't want to spend too much time on stuff like that. You know, it's pointless to me because, you know, different people have different beliefs, and God forbid I piss somebody off, you know, and they turn me into YouTube or whatever, blah blah. But you know, I try not to spend a lot of time on it. I guess if I wanted to be like everybody else, I could spend a lot of time talking about, you know, President Trump, or, you know, what's going on in California. I did touch on that a little bit today. I also touched a little bit on, you know, about planned riots all across protest all across the U.S. this weekend. I got to go to a football game Sunday or Saturday evening. I watch a league called the UFL, which is the XFL and the USFL combined. So the UFL, Unified Football League. And our home team here is St. Louis is the Battlehawks. And so the Battlehawks didn't make it in this year to the championship game. They got beat in the semifinal. They got beat bad. The team from DC, the Defenders, just ran all over them. And what makes it kind of bittersweet is that the quarterback for the Defenders used to play for the Battlehawks. And I guess one of the scouts, you know, during the 2020 season, they didn't finish the season in 2020, of course, because of the big bad virus. And so his name is Jordan Tiamu. He's a Hawaiian kid. He's really talented, great quarterback. I kind of expected him to, you know, show some inexperience, but he seemed to have his shit together pretty well. But anyway, so the Battlehawks got beat, so it's going to be the Michigan Panthers and the Defenders. Now, you know, I'm not going to pull for either team really, because I've only got one team, that's the Battlehawks. But I did buy the tickets for the game about a month ago, and I honestly, you know, expected the Battlehawks to make it, but they didn't make it. So I'll be watching two teams. And I'm still going to be in my my Battlehawks gear that I wear. I got one of those funky hats, you know, that have the dreads on it. They're blue and white, and then I wear a blue and white jersey. I don't paint my face or none of that stuff, but I'm going to be in the end zone. So you'll probably be able to see me. I'll be behind the end zone. And I guess it would be the home team side. And I'm not sure who's going to be home and who's going to be away. I guess that's something they decide, you know, between now and then. But I'm going to be on the front row in the end zone. So if you guys, I don't know how many of you guys and girls like football, but if you plan on watching that game, chances are you're going to see me there. I'm thinking about making like a banner or something and putting my YouTube channel in there just for people to check out. Because I will be shooting some video from the game. I'm going to try not to shoot too much video, but I will shoot a little, you know, both before, during the warm-ups, during the game, I'll do you know, some, and then after the game, you know, when they do the championship trophy send-off or whatever, I'll probably do some of that stuff. I don't know if I'll do it live. I may or may not. But I do know that walking from the stadium, or the dome, it's a dome stadium, I'll be shooting video, because there's supposed to be mostly peaceful protesting going on in St. Louis, but we all know, and I touched on that a few minutes ago, it's going to get violent. It always does, because, well, when you got politicians and these elite corporations paying for people to protest, it's always turn violent, regardless of what the circumstances are or why they're there. And that's all I got to say about that. So anyway, I'll be shooting video walking back to my car, just in case any action happens. I'm hoping maybe I'm wrong. I may be wrong, but I'm usually right, unless they're not going to be in the area of St. Louis that I'll be in. Hopefully they can keep them away from there. I got a feeling they'll be up around the police station and the city capitol building, or whatever, the courthouse, or whatever the hell is up there. They'll be shooting off fireworks and shit, blah blah blah, whatever. It's a damn shame people can't just voice their opinions anymore. But what we really need, honestly, I think, in this country? We need another Kent State University incident, maybe to teach these motherfuckers a lesson, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Kent State University deal, but that happened in May the 4th, 1970. Now, I was too young to, know that shit was going on, but I remember my mom talking about it, and, they were protesting at Kent State University, and some people got too close to the National Guardsmen, and National Guardsmen killed a few of them, and they dispersed pretty quick. So I'm not going to wish death on anybody, but I think that with the rubber bullets that they've been firing off out there in California has been somewhat helping. I can't say, but people need to know that they can't mess with the military. I'm fully behind the military 100%. As long as they're in the right. You know what I mean? If you're being attacked and people are throwing bottles and rocks at you and attacking you, yeah, it's your fair game. Because like I said, once a peaceful protest turns violent, it no longer should be constitutionally protected, first of all, and second of all, that should be cause for anybody to go in there and forcefully stop it. That's just my personal opinion, anyway, and I'm entitled to that because the First Amendment and everything like that. You see, and I did the First Amendment, didn't even have to get violent. I didn't have to raise my voice. I didn't have to cuss or nothing. How about that? Yep. So anyway, I'm almost home, folks. This is about usually the time I start wrapping up, because when I get close to my house, it likes to switch over from my phone to my Wi-Fi, and sometimes it cuts the video out anyway. But I want to thank everybody that stopped in today to see my video. Remember, you're what keeps my channel going. And I do appreciate the people that visit. I do appreciate all my subscribers. It really helps me to know that I am getting out